the immortal John Hancock, and I'm here today to talk about some of the best games for the Game Boy Advance. That's right, I've been having a lot of fun going back and playing some of the best games on multiple platforms. I haven't gone back and played my Game Boy Advance games in quite a while, so in this video today I'm going to take a look and share with you what I think are some of the best Game Boy Advance games that you need to revisit. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the video. First up is Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. What's really cool about this game is the soul system in which you absorb the abilities of fallen enemies randomly. And so there's some really neat things that happen as you progress into this game. It is a Metroidvania style game and one of the better ones for the Game Boy Advance. You start off pretty weak, but eventually you find better equipment. This game includes everything that you would want in a Castlevania 2D game. This is a Castlevania that is in the future as well, 2035. And so this is considered one of the better Castlevania games. Great music. It does take place in Dracula's castle. You find different equipment and you quickly upgrade. It happens just the right amount of time, so you are going to be flipping and upgrading as much as possible, but it definitely helps. What I like about this game is that it's different every time you play. Because the soul tactics is often random, it really adds to how to play this game. It has an easy menu in which you can easily tell if something's better than what you previously have. With the varying gameplay and amazing graphics and sound, I can't recommend this enough. If you're looking for a good Castlevania for the Game Boy Advance, look no further than Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. I absolutely love Metroid Zero Mission. I think it's the perfect addition to the Game Boy Advance library. There is something very special about this remake. It is a remake of the original Metroid. Another cool feature is that the original is included and unlockable when you beat the game. You have to explore different corridors and areas of a large map which expands as you progress in the game. You get different levels, you get different items that help you. There's lots of hidden secrets. This is just a fantastic addition. If you're a Metroid fan and haven't played this, you must go back and play it. It is important to pay attention to your map and save often in this game. But there's a lot to like here. Classic Metroid. Excellent graphics. As you progress, you get additional items that help you unlock additional areas. One of the first things you get is a long beam. It's got countless areas to explore. Really like that about this, and to me, even, beating this game doesn't take too long. If you've never played the Metroid series and you're looking for a great one to begin with, I actually recommend Zero Mission. This is a good place to start. I think it's not too difficult. I think that it's just the perfect balance of telling the story. Easily one of the best Game Boy Advance games. Check it out. Up next is the awesome Kirbys Nightmare in Dreamland. This is a remake of the original. So, what I love about this is it doesn't mess with the original. It improves upon it using the amazing upgraded graphics of the Game Boy Advance. You can still absorb powers, play the game, but it looks great. So you essentially easily just absorb a character, press down, and you gain the ability of that enemy. If you haven't played any of the Kirby games, this is a great one to start with. I really like platform games, and this is one of the better ones for the Game Boy Advance. It's a very colorful and friendly game. This is a great platformer for people. There's over 20 different features that you can get by absorbing enemies. If you're looking for a great platformer, look no further than Kirbys Nightmare in Dreamland. Fire Emblem is a long-standing Japanese strategy series that finally came to the States. This is a good place to start. Like other Fire Emblem games, there's permadeaths, there's economy, there's moving several units around. Each character has different abilities and range. What I like about this game is it does have a tutorial. If you're more advanced in the Fire Emblem series, you may not want to do this one. But if you're new to the Fire Emblem series, this is a great one to begin with. It is a prequel to the previous Fire Emblem, only available in Japan. I'm a fan of these strategy RPG games. This one isn't too long either, so this is a nice kind of entry point into these style games. So if you're looking for something different and haven't checked out Fire Emblem series, this is a good one to begin with. Simply search for Fire Emblem. The full title is Fire Emblem The Blazing Blade, but in the US it's just called Fire Emblem. As you gain experience, you get more abilities and your stats increase. Most of the characters in the game, if they perish, it is permadeath, which means they do not come back. There is a leveling up system in which your characters gain experience, and with 100 experience points, you can level up and gain the ability to get additional weapons. Each map and each chapter is played differently. You have to use your mind, and this is a fun game. If you like the Fire Emblem series and you haven't played its first Western localization, I recommend going back and playing this game. The Legend of Zelda, The Minish Cap, is a great Zelda game made for the Game Boy Advance. The Minish Cap shares the top-down perspective of other classic Zelda games, but offers kind of a new kind of feature. You can shrink down to microscopic level. This game has amazing graphics and animation, and explains the Four Swords story. I think the appeal of this game is its classic 2D Legend of Zelda. It has dungeons and puzzles. The Minish Cap is definitely one of the best games on the Game Boy Advance, with its amazing gameplay and popping visuals. The colors really stand out. I really enjoy all the mechanics of this Legend of Zelda game, and definitely one that I actually need to revisit myself. Never did beat it. And so I'm looking forward to playing this more in the future. If you haven't played this game, look no further. It's an amazing Legend of Zelda game. Go check it out. The Advance Wars games on the Game Boy Advance were fantastic. Both 1 and 2 are great. Some would say the second one's better, but I say start with the first one for the story. This is kind of your traditional strategy game. It has very colorful graphics. Pretty much there's multiple modes. You can do versus with the link option. And so there's over 114 maps in this game. And so there's even a map edit function in which you can make your own map. And so it's really cool. Compared to the second one, many people think that the gameplay is better in the second one. The tutorial and the story and the difficulty are better in the first one. And so it all depends on what you prefer. If you're kind of an expert when it comes to these types of games, you may want to jump into the second one. But Advance Wars 1 or 2 is an amazing choice. So if you're looking for a great military strategy game, this is a great pick. I was a big fan of these strategy games, and there was a ton in the early 2000s among many platforms. And Advance Wars is one of the better ones. I still think it holds up today. This is definitely a good one to revisit. There's a lot of gameplay here, lots of different modes. This is definitely an excellent title to revisit for the Game Boy Advance. Nintendo was a master with portable gaming, and the Game Boy Advance is a shining example of that. You know, they made so many great games themselves, but also the third-party support was there. It's just such an amazing portable that, you know, this just scratches the surface of what was offered on the Game Boy Advance. What are some of your favorite games? comment below, as I would love to hear about them. And this is going to be a multiple part series, so don't worry. There's so many more Game Boy Advance games that could have made this list. I just picked a few that I had and ones that I enjoy playing and had experience with. Thank you so much. You folks are wonderful and beautiful. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, keep it positive. This is the immortal John Hancock. You take care.